How we doing? We are back. This is another brand talk through. We've done one of these previously. Timothy and I thought it would be fun to do it for a new brand we just picked up for this season. Yeah, so the brand we just picked up, it is called Aviva Jifei Xue.
We really love the collection. I think it was something that was a little bit on both of our radar for a while. Every time we saw it, we're like, God, it is really good. And then it just kind of made sense, right timing. We were able to get in on this one through talking to the kid, who's actually the guy we knew is from Boulder.
I was gonna say, shout out Luke. He's our rep. He grew up here in Boulder or around the area. And
yeah, so he was able to get us a little small collection kind of to kick things off, introduce the brand. Yeah, it's really cool. Aviva, from what I understand, kind of came up in New York, went to Parsons for fashion and design, started the collection. It's really inspired by Japanese culture and Chinese culture, and then kind of that through the lens of living in New York, I think. And you kind of see that in the collection. There's sort of these very traditional like milling techniques. As much as there's like all this like interesting texture and there's a very natural quality to all the fabrics. The fabrics feel very like heritage oriented, but at the same time, it's all like through a very wearable lens. Like a lot of this feels like very classic pieces through this like different lens. So great storytelling, great fabrics, interesting connections to fabric, but also keeping it really raw and natural mixed with like wearability. Let's go heavy to light as opposed to the other way around. So starting out really strong, this is the Carob linen padded jacket. It is, first and foremost, I just like the shape of the jacket. It's boxy, it kind of feels like a track jacket, but it's padded, so you could fully wear this through the winter, you know? But at the same time, when you feel on the inside, the padding doesn't feel so artificial, it doesn't feel overstuffed, it doesn't feel like too keep it in. It feels very much like raw material, which you kind of feel through the whole collection of like the rawness of the material. Like it's not been messed with a ton. You can really tell when fabric's been overdone. This doesn't feel this way. So this is a blend of linen, silk, and cotton. It's interesting because it almost has this sort of like corduroy effect to it, but it also has the sheen of the velvet.
Depending on the light, there's a lot of high-lows and a lot of variation, because in some lights it's almost like black. But
it looks black, it kind of looks brown. It's almost like a Van Dyke brown if you think of paint or something. And then obviously that material, like I said, I've never felt anything like this. I don't even know how to like classify. I don't know how to stop fucking with it. I don't even know how to classify the fabric exactly. It's its own unique thing. Also, all the buttons are really, really, really unique. They're all original pieces. It kind of just finishes it in a great way. This one has a great dual zip. I mean, this is kind of like a real standout piece for us, at least.
Yeah, agreed.
So if that feels heavy, maybe, here is the Boxy shirt. I end up wearing these more like overshirts, although I do think they layer nicely. I like them with jackets. As you see, I do like little sweater vests and stuff. I like things like this to put over it, where I don't feel like it's as bulky as a jacket, but it's still pretty layers and it flows nicely. This fabric has so much like flow to it. This really seems considered throughout the whole collection, because unless there's padding or something that's bulking the fabric, it's quite drapey, especially for natural materials. This is something you kind of brought up in the beginning, that everything's natural, raw, and normally I kind of associate that with, oh, it's like stiff, it's starchy, it's scratchy, something either in the techniques of just how it's woven or whatever's happening. This all feels drapey, it feels great to the touch. We kind of talk about it a lot. It's like you lay everything out when we're counting things in, and you can tell which pieces are gonna hit right away because of how much people touch them.
100%, coming through and
we just got an Orly piece that I've walked past 3 or 4 times, and every single time I touch the fabric because it's just so interesting. This definitely has that, and it's a really cool way. If the other one felt too bulky, this is an easy way to still give into this fabric.
I mean, because you could layer another button-up shirt underneath. You could just do a t-shirt, what have you. So
I'm also really interested to see how this wears, because I think it'll be really unique.
Along the elbow and stuff.
Because there's this like very mild iridescence to it that I think might come out even more as you wear it. All right, this is gonna be a wool, cotton, and silk blend. This is the contrast sport jacket. It reads and feels a little like tweed, although it doesn't feel itchy or like hairy like tweed will.
I got you.
It's a completely different feel. And when you really look close at the fabric, it's almost like, instead of a traditional like houndstooth, it's almost like a myriad of little stars.
I was just gonna say, like, there's like tight like little asterisks almost, you know what I mean? Separating the lines.
All quilted on the inside, so there's like a mild padding that happens to it, but you can tell like right away as you start to wear this, it's gonna form to your body and fit really nicely and probably get really good as you continue to wear it. I really love the fabric fabric on the inside, on the lining, is doing this really interesting kind of like, almost like iCat design. And then it's, you know, diamond woven too, which is great. And then you get up top here, the fabric. I like the hidden placket, which is great. Just kind of a classic touch. This almost feels like old hunting or, you know, something like that.
Totally.
It just has this very like a classic, like almost like New York feel, which is kind of what I meant in the beginning by somehow pulling in all those different influences into
Okay,
one.
I got you.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. Really classic, clean.
I see like a cream, a brown, an olive, a gold.
But for like a bold pattern, this is also going to go with almost anything.
Well, yeah, like the further you get away from that angle, it just is, it's more or less just a texture.
Yeah.
It's hardly patterned at that point, so.
Fits are really good too. We didn't really comment on that. All the fits are like that kind of boxy. If you're familiar with James Coward, La Mer, any like kind of any brand like that, I wouldn't call this oversized as compared to those, but it's definitely like boxier and meant for a very casual look. But with the drapes of all the fabrics that they're using, I really think it works.
Cool.
Yeah. This is the cropped drawstring pant. It's yak wool and linen. The texture is almost this like, it's kind of happening at a diagonal. So you see this really cool texture when you're up close to it. Obviously from far away, it just reads as dark gray, almost black, but there's definitely some unique colors happening because there's almost like a tan color underneath.
Timothy, would you consider this to be a melange or no?
I don't know what the technical term makes a thing a melange versus doesn't, but it definitely is kind of creating
loosely communicates.
Yeah,
it's like a linear melange because you're right. It's like a diagonal. When you look at it closely, it's got like a diagonal pattern. So.
Yeah, it's all elastic up top, and then you've got the long drawstrings down below. And then I really like the exposed buttons. And it's got the big patch pockets on the back. The yoking that happens also because it's meant to be worn a little bit lower on your waist. When they do that, it just makes everything sit a little nicer because, you know, you're not going to wear it super up high. It's going to kind of hang a little lower on you. I really think this is a really beautiful pant, especially with the wool. It's going to be super warm, but it's also going to feel like a pajama pant almost.
Oh yeah, super. In fact, I tried on the other pant that we're going to show after this. Extremely, extremely flowy.
Okay, another big standout piece here. Driver's knit blouson. This is going to be wool, hemp, and organic cotton.
This is my
favorite.
favorite.
This is the yak wool too. The yak wool is important, I think, to mention because yak is like, I believe, a shorter staple fiber.
Okay.
But you combine a ton of it, and that's why you get this like furriness that's softer and moves a little bit better.
I see.
Rather than sometimes you get the longer, hairy stuff that happens. I think the couple things to point out here are I really like the big oversized cuffs. It makes it feel kind of luxurious, and I like the maximalist feel to it, given that everything else is really subdued. The fit on this overall, boxy, kind of round, really comfortable. Could totally do as a underlayer if you were doing like a bigger jacket.
Absolutely.
But could also be thrown over the top of everything as well.
Yep.
Another cool thing, obviously two-way zip on these is really important, especially with a big banding down here like that.
Yeah, because otherwise, you know, might bunch at the waist.
Exactly.
Kind of funny.
Pain in the ass to drive and things like that. But then another cool feature is, and I'll open this up so that you can see the inside and hopefully not drop it. Thermal line. So this is all like a natural thermal. It's real heavy and feels great. And it gives the whole piece a more substantial overall feel.
Yeah.
I love that they do this really great button. And again, these buttons are all like beautiful ceramic, like handmade. You can tell each one's completely unique, and it has, again, this cool iridescence that happens from, I think, the oxidation that takes place during like firing. Okay. So that's really cool. And then it closes just like that. So you can have this really like, almost like cardigan feel to it. Just a cool, unique little detail that makes this piece feel like it can do a lot more than just be a real straightforward cardigan. Or,
Yep, exactly. Because it's got the dual way or the button, and then with just the button, then you're able to like have stuff, you know, a pop of color or a different texture pop up here, play with proportion that way. I want to say, again, the weight of this feels very, very, very good on. This is the standout for me.
It just lays on you so nicely.
So nice.
Yeah.
I don't really know how else to say. You feel really good in it.
And I love the mousy brown color. It's really close to creating a gray. They're really creating these very like bold pieces that are kind of also really subtle and wearable. I think that's like the perfect blend.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's cool.
This is a pant that we're all sort of pining over. Unfortunately, we don't have a ton of sizing, but let's go ahead and highlight it anyway. This is the triple pleat pant. It's really great. This is the same fabric as we saw in the last pant. This is just a really comfortable take on a like dress pant, like a classic dress pant. So it's a triple pleat because it's in wool. That's not the standout piece like it would be if it was just like a cotton drill or twill or something. It's not as bold feeling because you don't get all the cast shadow that happens on the pleating when it's just like a solid color or like a crisper fabric.
Yeah.
So it really just sort of bleeds into this really flowy, but kind of tailored at the same time leg.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I put them on. Feels really similar to trying on like a La Mer pant, kind of where it's a nice high rise, kind of hugs the hips and the waist really nicely.
Yeah.
But then tailored, but still like very roomy and drapey all the way down.
What size waist do you normally wear and how did these fit?
If we're talking brands, I'm like between a 3 and a 4 in Orslo, depending on the style. 48 to a 50 in La Mer. I would say, what's that making? A 33, 34 waist-ish.
Yeah, somewhere in there,
The XL was very comfortable. So that might just be due to the rise. That would be the size I take. Maybe in the other pant I'd take something else. So I guess we'll have to have a larger sample size to be able to interpolate through. I am an XL through and through in these.
Yeah, probably depends on where it's hitting you on your waist versus hip, things like that. But I'd say somewhere between 34 and 36, but I think if it's fitting you comfortably, it's probably right there.
It's like a 34.
So keep that in mind with sizing on the pants, and all the pieces here seem to be fitting relatively true. I went with like what I would wear in La Mer and it fit great.
Right on, yeah.
All right, so these are the long sleeve arc tees. I really, really love these. So this is all like organic jersey. So it's like stretchy, super comfortable, but still has a great weight to it. And because they don't over mess with the fabric like we were talking about, it still feels like it has like a slubbiness to it. It has this really natural color to it. It doesn't feel dyed or messed with in any way. Especially when you're wearing a bunch of big heavy wools and stuff like this. Having a jersey like this underneath everything really just makes everything feel better.
Keeps it
onto
flowy,
the body,
you know what I mean?
Keeps you warm. And the cool thing is like these two fabrics come into play in just a minute with some of the accessories. So they really use a lot of the same fabrics in different pieces to kind of draw everything back and feeling like too matchy-matchy.
Yeah, I got you. But like callbacks. So,
yeah. The cool part about this that you'll actually probably be able to see better on this one is the arc is this really, I don't know how to like compare it because it's not exactly a raglan, but it's closer to a raglan than most.
Raglan though.
What it's closest to, if I'm being honest with you, is more like old school football tees or something.
Yeah.
In that it's like got this big dramatic thing, which is gonna make it kind of hang off your shoulders a bit more, which is really what you want to happen with like drapey pieces. Think of like a tent or something. It's kind of be taut in one space and kind of hang to the rest of the spaces. Yeah. That's what they're trying to accomplish here, is that it really hangs really beautifully on the body. So they accomplish that by big old arcuate back here so it drapes off of the shoulder, and then up here to make sure it's still going in the right direction, you actually get a 3-piece here, which keeps it hanging kind of down. So it really creates a really like great silhouette.
Yeah, because you can see it right here, kind of the seam along the front and then kind of regular shoulder seam as well.
I think these are really cool, and I could see, even if you were only buying one piece from them, this is a great thing to have in the wardrobe because it's gonna work with a lot of stuff. All right, so this is the narrow scarf and that same wool, the hemp wool that we looked at in the driver's coat.
Yep.
Cool thing about this is obviously you can just throw it over. What I really like is because it's like got these little pieces at the end here, and you can see as a total piece, it's not enormous, which I really like. I get a little frustrated, I've talked about it before, with like really big oversized scarves.
There's a lot to deal with.
It can be hard to style, even though it's warm. This is thick, double-sided. Feels like there's a little something in there in some way. It feels great on the skin for being wool. And like I said, like doing like nothing, and it looks very finished, and it looks like it fits really well. Yeah, really great, like interesting, simple accessory that somehow feels much better than others just by being a little smarter with proportion.
Yeah.
Last one here is the hat that kind of matches along with that. So again, it's just kind of a very straightforward like beanie, which I actually love. I've loved that this style of beanie has come back.
What would you call that, like a skull cap?
Kinda,
am I right in that?
A little floppier than like what a traditional is, but yeah, 100%. I mean, and you can also, if you wanted to do the more like watch cap thing, you can do that, and then you're gonna get the hit of that stripe that we just looked at in the jersey. Also feels a little bit better, especially if you don't have any hair or whatever. Feels a little better on the head on this side.
Yeah.
But it's also fully reversible and wearable this way as well. So you can get kind of 2 looks out of 1, which is awesome. Matches with everything. Just an easy way to kind of play with pattern and style. Plus you get two hats in one.
Yeah, it's dope.
Cool.
So yeah, as we said, that's what we've got at this moment. There's obviously plenty more to come in future seasons, a much wider breadth of offerings. Yeah, like I said, that brown jacket is a standout for me. I know, Timothy, you love that burgundy wool shirt.
I love that shirt. I love those pants. I really like everything they're doing. So I'm really excited to continue with them. I think the styling will really show off, how it fits, because that's really what grabbed us. Is they do really beautiful lookbooks and styling. It's really considered. It's shot great. It turned out really well, even though we have a small collection right now. Just hopefully this is a great taste, and you'll see a bunch more coming through come spring.
Cool. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. If you have sizing questions, drop them in the comments. Shoot me an email. I'm happy to help you. Our Discord is now open, so there'll be a link in the bio to pop over there and hop in. Drop an intro and a kit when you get in. Say hi. That's about it. Black Friday is right around the corner, though, so join our Patreon if you want early access at least a day to 3 days prior to the next group of people getting it, and then ultimately the public. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you need anything, don't hesitate to be in touch.
Cool.
Peace.